Brexit sent shockwaves across the EU and sparked very real fears the bloc could collapse, a European diplomat has admitted. After Britons voted to leave the European Union in June 2016's referendum, EU officials feared the bloc could collapse without the UK. Lithuania's permanent representative to the EU, Jovita t.r.a.uma, has opened up about how a great deal of fear spread across the bloc following the vote. She said in an interview today, "For a couple of months everyone here in Brussels, you probably remember yourself, had the feeling that the EU ship may as well sink, that the EU is not for granted." She said protecting the bloc's unity took quite an effort, and trauma. She added, despite being a tragedy, the ongoing coronavirus crisis had given the bloc a chance to reunite. Ms. t.r.a.uma said, "Even though the EU has no competences in the health sector, or in managing internal borders, what was the outcry in the general public? That the EU has to take action. For the first time people really wanted the EU to act, and the answer that the EU has no competences didn't work. You had to come up with something. We have to keep that in mind as Europeans, and as ambassadors here. I don't feel happy about the crisis, but in the EU, every crisis is an opportunity. This is the possibility for the EU to do things which in normal times we would not be able to do." Her interview with Politico comes as Brexit talks have so far failed to produce a free trade agreement. Once again, the EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, insisted several areas of divergence still remain. Those areas include the sovereignty of the UK's fishing waters, the role of the European Court of Justice in British judicial matters, and the issue of state aid. The two sides will return to negotiations on August 10 to prepare themselves for crunch talks. Mr. Barnier's counterpart David Frost has set September as a possible date for a deal to be agreed. The EU has, however, indicated October as a deadline in order for it to then be ratified by the EU 27.